So, yeah, I'm in the locker room. Season ended a couple weeks ago, and the facilities upgrade's supposed to be going on now. I got to call Chairman Andy here and figure out what's going on here, when they're going to start. Yeah, hey, Andy, yeah, this is Zilla here. I'm in the locker room, and season ended a couple weeks ago, wondering when the people are coming in to do the upgrade in the facilities. They're not? When are they going to? Is it delayed till the fall? You canceled it. Ah. Oh, is it any particular reason? Not enough money. Okay, so what about the budget then? Is all the money going to that? Because you said we're going to talk about the budget increases this year. So how much is the budget going to increase for next year? It's going to be the same as last year. So, Andy, tell me, are you related to Chairman Jimmy at all, by any chance? His brother-in-law. Just kind of a hunch. Anyway, yeah, thanks. Yeah, so safe to say, honeymoon's over. So hello everybody, welcome to our season wrap episode. This is an episode, we're not going to play a match. This is for people that like some behind the scene looks at things like that. We're going to talk a little bit about some of these structural changes. And yes, any love we had for Chairman Holt is starting to fade pretty quickly here, given some of the off-season happenings here in the first 3 weeks since the season ended. But we'll talk a little bit about those more later. We're going to start out by going through some of the season awards and some of the notable performances. And there is one surprising element to that. And then we're going to look at some of the response to the structural changes that I'm trying to make now. Big changes. I feel like a lot's happened already, even though the season's only 3 weeks old. So if you like a behind the scenes look at how the franchise is running, this is your episode. We're going to take about 15 minutes and kind of go through things. So let's dig right in and get started. First, we'll start with some of the mellow things, some of the end of the season awards. And we have some interesting ones. However, I lost that email because it's already faded off the screen already. So we're going to have to kind of go from memory. But I did take some notes here as we went through it. First, as we look back on the year, our player of the year, can you guess, was Mr. Tom Holmes, our center back, who had a 7.26 rating, 7 goals and 3 assists in 39 appearances. I highly agree with that choice. I can't think of anyone else that played the minutes that he played and had the impact on the matches that he had, both from a kind of controlling the defense. He was also our captain, so wholeheartedly agree. He was also elected into our top 11 with a Shane Flynn as well, one of our wingers as well too. Our goal of the season came from Simon Walsh, but I wasn't able to see that, and I'm not sure how to find it. If you know how to find that, maybe we can take a look in a future episode, but I have seemed to lost my ability to figure out where that is once the email goes. Simon Walsh, however, our center back, who I've been singing his praises all season long, was our signing of the season, and we still have him to 2029. It's the end of 2026 now for £1,700 per week, although he has a pre-concern that he's starting to feel he deserves a new contract. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm really liking this. 20 years old. He was our signing of the season, so that's good news. Our young player of the season is Morgan Jeffs. Morgan Jeffs was the striker we kind of played heavily in the back half of the season. 10 goals and 17 appearances with a 7.39 rating. If he had played more of the season, he would have had a tremendous, probably one of the top 1 or 2 players in the league in terms of rating, should he have been able to keep that up, which is a question mark, granted. The good news is that the team we've got him on loan for, Leeds United, wants to loan him back to us. The bad news is Leeds United is in the middle of a takeover, so there's a transfer embargo, so we can't get the loan to go through. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we can have Morgan Jeffs for next year, but that's a little bit getting ahead of ourselves too. So those are some of the awards. I did want to take a quick look here. If we look at the league table, we can take a look kind of also in from kind of that team level, how things turned out. Burnley won the championship on the last day. Derby County, who we played on the last day, got the automatic promotion. And West Ham beat out Charlton, who got promoted with us last year to the championship and almost made it up, but got knocked out in the first round of the playoffs. Swansea and Fulham, poor Fulham, almost made it back to the dance, but they did not. So they are going up. And if we look at who's coming down, we've got Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, and West Brom will be joining us in the championship next year. Manchester City did win the title with Liverpool. On a side note, too, Liverpool finished second and just fired their manager. And if we go into the staff search, oh, no, that's not what we want, Job Center. If we go into the Job Center and we look at Liverpool Premier League, leading candidates, Zilla Blitz and Evans. Interesting. There are lots of murmurs that they may approach me. But I don't think we're going to take it. We're going to stick with Nuneaton until death do us part, or divorce do us part, I think is probably another way to put it. But we'll see how that works. So if we did take a look, though, I'd like to show you kind of some of the top ratings, because it is kind of interesting here. Let's go to home league table. Actually, I want to get to the league. Yeah, this is pretty good. Sorry, I'm a little bit navigationally challenged for whatever. A little bit short on sleep now, so a little bit navigationally challenged. Stats. Let's go to player overview, and let's take a look. Actually, player detailed is what we want. Highest ratings. Average rating. 2 of the top 5 players, 3 of the top 10 players were from our team. So Tom Holmes, as would make sense, he was really good. Simon Walsh, who was a young player of the year, 7.22, was 5th in the league. Levante Lakatos, our striker who excelled in the first half of the year and struggled in the second half of the year, still had a good enough first half and played enough minutes to get a 1.8 rating to get him 8th in the league. Nobody else really in the top 20 there, but pretty good. That's a good one. All of these 3 players, Lakatos, who was on a loan, we'll talk about that in a minute, is going to be back for next year too. We were able to extend his loan already for another year. So our arguably 3 of our 4 best players, I would put Jeff's in there as well. 3 of them will be certainly back for next year, and hopefully Jeff's will be back as well. Goal-wise, where is that? Goal-wise, we have nobody really close to anything here. Lakatos was 14th, tied with Shane Flynn, but with 12 league goals. So no one really close to the 24 that both Tom Jackson and Irvin Araujo had for the leaders there. So that's a little bit of the kind of the statistical things. One other award of note, check this out. Let's go my profile. If we go, why am I so struggled here? Overview maybe? Actually, I can find it in the inbox here. This one was somewhat interesting, I thought. Blitz named as head coach of the year winner. So last year we had a tiny budget and we finished second and got promoted, and they gave the award to the first place person who had twice as much money as anybody else in the league, Charlton head coach, and he got the head coach of the year. This year there were teams I thought that performed better than us, and certainly teams that got promoted and stuff like that. For whatever reason, our mid-table finish was enough for us to get the award. So that's the 3rd time now that we've got a head coach of the year award. So pretty happy about that. I mean, I'm not complaining, considering I thought we were ripped off of one last year. This feels like a little bit like kind of justification, but it is a little surprising to get a mid-table finish and get that award. But so yeah, go us. I guess that's pretty cool. So there's some of the award things and some of the year-end stuff. Now let's shift a little bit into the structural things. The bad news is, yes, the bad news is right here, improved training facilities. They canceled it on us. Improved youth facilities, which only cost $650,000, is going to go through, but I really wanted the training facilities one. I was looking forward to that 2.5-star rating, but that is gone. Improved youth recruitment, I just asked for that just today, and he said yes to that, and that's going to be completed already, I guess. But I think that's kind of a gradual thing that's going to help, which is good because I really haven't mentioned much about the youth teams, and our youth recruitment again this year stunk. We've yet to have a player that we've recruited that's been any good. So hopeful that over time, maybe we'll get a couple players that could make the senior team from our youth movement. But yeah, probably need to focus on that a little bit more. But we just haven't had the money to do so. And we have the Chairman Jimmy to do so as well. But now that we know Chairman Andy is apparently related to Chairman Jimmy and likes to say no to things, or likes to say yes to things and then cancel them, I do have a little bit concerns going forward. He is, however, keeping his promise of the previous administration to build a new stadium, and that is underway. It's going to be a 14,000 seat stadium. We had to take out a £10 million loan for that, and we're going to have to pay £100,000 per month to finance the creation of the new stadium. It will be done at the end of next year, which could be critical because if we look at our attendance for this year, we're at 99% capacity, sold out every single game with 6,364 fans, except for one where we had tanked down to 19th place. So for sure, we can use the extra seating, which would also generate extra money, because that's really, I think, what it comes down to is we need more money. And it turns out that even though it's secure, that Chairman Andy here, I think he wants to spend it, but he just doesn't seem to have the money. Oddly enough, shortly after they canceled the improvements to the youth facilities, we got notice from the Soccer Association, the Football Association, that we got £4 million for being in the championship. And so now, if you look at our finances, we have an overall balance of almost £5 million, but apparently I can't go back to him now and ask for, if we look for facilities, I can't ask for improved training facilities because it's already red. So bummer. But I'm hopeful when that clears, I can ask again, and maybe this time he'll say yes. But yeah, so the financial situation is getting a little murky. Big loan. I'm really excited about the new stadium, but that's not going to kick in till next year. So I feel like we're going to have to do with the income. And of course, he's keeping the budget the same as well, which is kind of a bummer. So we look at that. So there's a situation, some negative news, and I suppose the stadium's positive news on the financial front. The reaction to that, one of the questions I was asking is, should I sell? We have a half dozen or so players that aren't really crucial to the team and are kind of 26, 27, 28 years old, that are kind of helpful and needed, but not critical, if that makes sense. That might be talking easy. And the question was to keep them or sell them. I decided I want to try to bring in some new players, so I had a yard sale. We have sold a bunch of players already, and I'm trying to sell a couple more. If we go into the transfer market here, and let me know what you think about this. I'd be really curious to hear what people think. I know a couple people posted on the comments for the year that, keep them selling medium for the leadership and stuff like that. But we've sold 4 players already. The biggest one, Thomas O'Connor, is worth $1.5 million. He's our starting left back, 6.99 rating, really locked down the left back position. We will miss him for sure. But he was 27 years old and his value was dropping by the month. And I figure we're not going to get much for him in anything. I thought we would take the cash with the hope that we can find someone that can be comparable to him out at left back and certainly hold us together this season. So we got money there. We also had George Lapsley, who was 28 years old, center midfielder, played quite a bit last year, 15 appearances, 9 starts, played pretty well, but it's getting kind of old and is worth a little bit. We sold him for $195,000. Tom Bayliss, who was good but wasn't playing that much. We had players better. Sold him for $250,000, $275,000. We have £1,000 per week, so we're going to lose $50,000 to keep up for his wages. So a little bit over $200,000 we'll make for him. And then Hannes Delcroix as well was, I think, 27 years old. Had helped out quite a bit. He was our backup left back when O'Connor was hurt and I didn't sign anybody else. So he's been useful, 6.85 rating, but again, 27 years old, probably not dropping, probably not going up in value. Let's see if we can get some money for him. So I sold those 4, and I'm trying to sell some more players, a couple more, 2 or 3 more players that kind of fall into that same category. And the result of that is that even though the budget stayed the same, we've added $1.5 million to our transfer budget. That's good news, I think. So we have some money to play with, and I'm trying to find some players to sign. So that's really going forward. I think we need a lot of players. With that in mind, some of the good news is I was able to kind of renegotiate some of our loan contracts. So if we go back to our squad here, Lewis Mitchell will be back. Marcio will be back. Harry Naylor Everett. Most of our good loan players. Morgan Jeffs, I really want to get back, and I'm hopeful we can get him back once they clear their transfer embargo. Eddie Diath will be a right back. So we got like half in the back. We weren't able to get either of our goalkeepers. So Pat O'Brien or Ryan Pardo-Roques will not be back next year, it looks like, which really is critical that we find a goalkeeper, a couple good goalkeepers, as our only other goalkeeper is Zach Gcock, and he wants to be sold, and he's not really all that good anyway. So critical needs at goalkeeper. We're going to need another center back. We'll probably need 2 or 3 midfielders to replace the ones we sold. We need 2 left backs, one we sold, and we don't have another one. So desperate need at left back. Could probably use another striker because I don't know if we're going to get Morgan Jeffs, and then some help again at outside wings because we're going to sell one of them and stuff like that. So we need a lot of new players, and that's the goal really looking forward is let's get into June and let's really start attacking and bring in some new players. I'd also like to reduce our reliance on loans if we can too. So I guess looking forward, to speak about looking forward, the club vision, fortunately, Chairman Andy here says he wants us to avoid a relegation battle. We had a players meeting just a few days ago because they all went on summer break. All the players are on board with avoiding a relegation battle as well. So I feel like that's a modest goal for next year that we can meet. But we've cleared out a little bit of ability. We really have a lot of work to do in terms of replacing that, but we do have some money to play with. So I feel like step one's in good place. Step two is really to kind of get some new players in and go forward. So that, I think, is pretty much a summary of everything that I thought would be cool to know about the team. I do have a couple of signings that I've made, and actually I'm curious what people might think of this one. So coming in, this guy right here, Ronan Felipe. Still haven't fully signed him out yet. He was with Zurich, where he scored 14 goals in 25 minutes. Looks like he's got really good numbers, and I've got someone scouting him to clean him up. Signed him now. He's agreed to an £11,000 per week contract. Apparently, he wants a release clause at like $17 million, which would be crazy valuable. But I saw his injury history, and it's scrollable. I'm a little concerned about that. I think he was hurt 8 times last year. Most of them short, some of them moderate. So I think that's kind of a red flag, and I'm not sure that I want to spend that much money on someone who could get hurt that much. But let me think. What would you do? Would you sign this guy? $11,000 plus like so much per match. He would be our most expensive signing by about £3,000 per week. Ton of money to invest in a guy who's got a questionable injury rating. Also, I'm kind of concerned about his teamwork rating, 7 to 9. That's pretty low. And vision is 9. Finishing is 11. Championship, I don't know. Let me know. I really like his physicals. Those are nuts good for this level. So, and he has a pretty good record of being able to score where he was, although not quite at this high level. So let me know what you think about Ronan Felipe. I'm thinking to balk on it. No one else really of note here. These are kind of marginal players that we're trying to get in for a little bit of money, but see, really nothing there at this point. So there you have it. That's kind of our end of the season wrap. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything. The only thing I'd say is, looking forward, we're going to have limited income because we have such a small stadium. But that's only for next year. After that, we're going to go up to 14,000 seats in our stadium, which will definitely increase our revenue, which should increase our budget. So I think if we can stay mid-table this coming year, we'll position the club to hopefully start improving facilities. I don't see how we get and stay in the Premier League without having better facilities. And we do need to work on our youth movement. The comments, I think it was Alan mentioned in the comments that if we're going to go for European play, we need 4 players that have been brought up at the club. And our youth recruitment's been so horrible that we really have 2 players right now that qualify for that. Both of them are really, really marginal players that don't help us. So if we had to have 4 on a roster for continental play, that would be really hard. Now, that's getting way in front of us, but that doesn't mean we need to bring in some really young kids, 15 to 17 years old, and start to groom them and develop them into starters. So we have to kind of concentrate on that as well. Which brings us again to that big question as to where is the end game for this save? And I'm debating, let me know what you think. I'm really liking doing it, but I'm also thinking maybe the end game is try to get to Premier League and stay up a season. And then if we did that, we've taken a club from the bottom to the top and established them in the Premier League. And I'm not sure I want to stick around and play all the way through to see if we can win the Premier League and then win Champions League, which I think would be a long haul with this team. But I'm not quite sure. I'm having a lot of fun doing it right now, and I'm kind of thinking to go forward. But let me know what you think. I'd be curious to hear what people's opinions are. I think I would try to do something else before FM21 comes out and maybe do another smaller or shorter save or something of like a true journeyman for a couple of years, maybe 3-4 years or something like that. But yeah, anyway, I think that's the end of our season wrap. Going forward, I'm going to play through May until the end of July, when the new season will start up. And then we're going to come back and do our preseason episode 0 for season 7, where we'll show a little bit some of the kind of the maneuverings that we had over the part of the year. Hopefully we'll have some new players in to fill that. We'll know a little bit more on a few different situations, and then still kind of draw out what we need to do to get the team ready for another year at the championship. And by selling off all these players, we do need to bring in quite a few players. I'm hopeful we can find some reasonably priced good players. And there you have it. I think, kind of in a holding pattern for this coming year. If we could survive with the small stadium and be mid-table again, that would be pretty good, as well as really start to kind of bring in some players that we can develop and break down our reliance on loans and maybe get in some youth. So that's kind of what the general thinking is. If you have thoughts, ideas, comments, tips, or anything like that, please let me know. But thanks for watching the year-end wrap episode. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new, please consider subscribing and punching in notifications so you can find out what's going on. And thank you so much for watching. And look forward. Thank you as well so much for the support throughout the year. It's been really fun to read everybody's comments, and I've learned so much from everybody's tips. Very grateful to all the tips that you've given. I've gotten to be, I feel like I still have a ton to learn about the game, but I feel like I've come a long way. Thank you to all the tactical advice, contract advice, all the information that people have so graciously offered up in the comments has been really beneficial for me learning how to play the game better. So thank you as well. And it's also super motivating when I post an episode and then people come in and make comments and seem to enjoy it. And so it's really fun for me to read those. So I appreciate all your comments. I know it takes time to put those in and to interact and stuff. So thank you very much for all the support that you've given over this year. And I look forward to next year. We'll see you in a few more days. I'm going to try to do 2 episodes a week now, get back on track, be pretty consistent. So we should be back for season 7, episode 0 in about 3 days or so. Thanks again. Have a great day. Bye.